Hi, I'm Jason, a Business Development Chef for M&J Seafoods, and today I've got you some of these beautiful Pyfleet Pure Colchester oysters. These are a Pacific or rock oyster. You can tell that by their shape, that typical oval shape. These go through, the Pyfleet Pure Colchester oysters go through a special patented purification process that makes them especially safe and free from norovirus. When your oysters come in, make sure you store them properly. Make sure that when you do store them, you store them the right way up. The oyster consists of a rounded shell and a flat shell on the top. Always put the round shell on the bottom, because if you just tip them into a bag, sometimes they can open up a little bit and leak some of the juice. The juice is really key, it's the important part of the oyster. First of all, to open the oysters, you need a really sturdy knife. There's various different special oyster knives. This is just one style. As long as it's pointed on the end, doesn't need to be specifically sharp on the outside. When you open an oyster, it can be a little bit awkward, so make sure you're in a comfortable position, standing carefully. And first, you need a nice cloth. That's going to protect your hands if anything happens. It's also easier to rest the oyster on. You can get little cradles for the oyster to sit in, but you don't really need it necessarily. To start with, you're going to go in at the hinge. We need to tease in at the hinge. If we just force the knife into it and twist it, we've got a chance of either breaking the knife or the oyster shell. We don't want to do that. We want to make as little mess as possible and damage the oyster as little as possible also. So over the top with our T-towel, find the hinge, which will be somewhere around there. Put the sharp side of the oyster knife, if you've got one, away from you, because you're going to cut through a little muscle on the top, which is probably around sort of 10 o'clock, that direction, always the same in the oyster. We're going to gently tease the knife in until we find what we, maybe the sweet spot. When you think you've got a nice sweet spot, be a little bit firm with it and just pop it, release the air from the oyster. And when you take the knife out from the oyster, wipe it before you put it back in, because there's going to be mud around the edges, because they're grown on the seabed, traditional beds in Colchester. Slide the knife across the top of the flat shell, which releases the shell, the top shell. Again, wiping your knife. Then you want to just be careful, have a look at the oyster, make sure it's looking nice and healthy. We don't want any bits of shell or mud in the oyster. Plenty of juice in there. Then we need to, again, just release it from the bottom shell. Do that carefully. Then we can just flip the oyster over. That gives it the slightly nicer presentation side. There we go. Put that onto a plate. Come for another oyster. Let's try again. Have a look at this one. Nice big one there. So again, we're going to go in at the hinge. Find a nice gentle space. Give it a pop, little twist. Sometimes it can be quite awkward to find that spot. If you've got to put too much effort onto it, you're probably in the wrong place. So have a little wiggle around until you find the right place again. Release it from the bottom, check the oyster, and flip it over. That's it. Nice and rounded on the top, nice and juicy. There you go. We're going to put that on the plate. To serve these oysters, we've got a little selection of pickles. We have some pickled fennel, pickled red onion, and also some seaweed salad. This is a goma wakame salad, also with some lemon wedges maybe. You can serve it whatever you want. You can serve it raw with Tabasco, lemon or anything. Otherwise you can cook it. You can deep fry them, batter them, you can grill them, bake them, however you want. Also, if you've got issues about opening the oysters, if you put them on a tray, put them in the oven or put them on the barbecue, as they get hot, they'll pop open anyway, and then you'll be able to take them out. Thanks very much. Have fun with your oysters.